Hello, YouTube. And let's get on with this video. Alright. Um, I'm going to set video, I guess. First of all, with the George Carlin crow. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about my last video, and then I'll get into the video. But the crow is really the concept of this video. And that's a quote from George Carlin. It's not important to teach children to read. It's important to teach children to question what they read. Children who want to learn to read are going to learn to read. It's not important to teach them what to read. Teach them to read. It's important to teach them to question what they read. And that's what nobody ever does with them. No one ever teaches them to question. Parents don't want children to question because parents lie, because parents are authority figures themselves, and they don't want to undermine their bullshit inside of their household. So what do? They stroke the kid strokes them. They all grow up all fucked up, and they come to shows like this. That was a George Carlin quote, and that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about questioning different things. Not that I hate all these things, not that I'm 100% against one thing more than I am the other, but simply a questioning of things I consider to be bullshit. A questioning that needs to happen and should have been happening and happening for a long time. We should have questioned shit or have been doing this a long time ago. Instead, we have to just now really start doing this, and we're just now really starting to unravel this dictatorship, this matrix that we live in, and with time we question things. And on the issue of that, or maybe not so much, I don't know. I'm just gonna get to this. I noticed that my other video that I made, it doesn't have many viewers, and that is but it's not like pretty much almost any of my videos have had many viewers. But I mean, that's really a shame, or that's really disappointing, because I honestly really did think, despite the fact that I think I sounded a little bit whiny in that video, or more so than usual, but even though it was a bit of a rant, and I was a little bit whiny in it, and I would even go so far as to say a little bit overly lecturing of the viewer almost. But in spite of all that, I still thought it was one of the better videos I made. I really did. I thought it was a very good video. It really got a lot of what I believe in my point across. And I had just noticed that people don't seem to have really watched that video a lot, from what I'm seeing. And no one's liked it yet. Only a couple of people seem to have watched it, and that's disappointing. But I would really like for you to go back and watch that movie, or really rather have you watch that movie. It is one of the main videos up on my channel. I think it's for returning subscribers. I hope it's for new viewers, because that's who's going to watch this and more likely to click on my shit probably. But if not, I might go back and put it on autoplay for new viewers that maybe they'll watch. But the point is, it's called what was it called? Something like Creating Your Reality Starts with Each Individual and Saving the Democratic Party, or something like that. And it was I thought it was a good video that not many people seem to have watched or really saw, and that's disappointing, like I said. But now then, back to questioning things. First off, I'm going to question Trump, and I want to say, and really just the entire right wing, and later I'll question the Democrat, or the Democratic Party. But first off, I want to say about Trump, and I'm going to start with Trump here, and that is to simply say, or to start by saying that I'm not against Trump, or I'm not going to be like opposed to Trump just quite yet, because I still think that he's done a lot of good since he became president. And like I said before, I don't agree with all of his choices or decisions as president. I didn't agree with the transgender military ban. I'm certainly not agreeing with his speeding up of deportation of illegals. I don't support that, obviously. And there's things he's done, a number of things I haven't supported. But so there's things he's done and has said, probably more things that he said that I don't support. But then again, I want you to remember, and this is one thing I will say, I do not regret voting for him over Hillary Clinton. I would vote for him again over Hillary Clinton, 1,000 times over if I had to, because I want you to remember what kind of fucking person this was. She was a person who destroyed classified information, emails, hundreds of emails, whatever it was, literally took an iPhone to the took a hammer to the fucking server or to the phone and whatever, whitewashed shit and did everything she could to store information about various things she had said and did. She was involved in the rigging of the Democratic primary that we now know happened. She was giving debate questions days earlier or prior to the debate that she had against Trump. She was absolutely criminal in every way. And she did all this. And none of those people have been brought to justice or had charges brought on them this yet. And I would like to also remind you, while she was Secretary of State, we know that we need to know about her, and we had saw a very good example of what she would have been like as a president, under which they're looking at what she had done as Secretary of State, and just the absolute, almost lawless, illegal, criminal, and this idiotic behavior that, you know, I guess maybe she did because she has some kind of dick envy. I don't know what her fucking problem is. It seems like she was always trying to outman the men, so she was like, hey, gee, I can blow up that country better. I'll show that Obama I'll blow up things better than he ever could. You know, that was almost like her fucking mentality in life. And she's always trying to scam and screw her way to the top, and that's what she did. She constantly scammed people, and she wanted to scam the entire country. And if you look at what she does, she constantly engages in idiotic criminal behavior. And she's really contrary to a lot of the feminist bullshit or the feminist notion that, well, man, you know, men shouldn't run the world because they're too hot-headed. Is to where with her, it was the precise opposite. And had she been president, or if she was president just a few weeks ago, or whatever it has been now, when Iran supposedly attacked a few U.S. drones, she probably would have acted militarily and done something stupid and criminal like always, as she always does or did. And we could very well be in the beginnings of World War III right now. And they could be getting ready to send your kids or your siblings or your parents or significant other, or whoever, off to go to some country for their final climatic end, to pretty much send them to their death. Well, you know, one last time, send them off to war. They probably would be drafting people. We would be in hell if she had won. She was a totally military, strong person, con artist that was bureaucratic, technocratic, lying, hypocritical, dishonest, and a complete product of a vulture capitalist class, a globalist, and a lot of other things. And she was a corporate-backed person. She was a corporatist. The bitch was corporate, totally through and through. She was corporate. She had the supporting and the funding of the banks. She was pro-banker, pro-dictator, pro-Saudi Arabia, pro-fucking China. She was Chinese-backed and funded. She killed Gaddafi in Iran. Gaddafi, who in my opinion was one of the better leaders in that region in a lot of ways. And she sided with dictators and despots over average working day people all over the world, not just here. And she herself would have been a dictator or was certainly at least a despot. That is what she was. So I went a little bit too much into talking about Hillary Clinton, but you're damn right I would vote for Trump over that. That is something I do not rate her in. I can't think of the phrase, but I have no uncertainty, or I am in no way uncertain about voting for him again. I still think I voted for him correctly. But on the other hand, I will also say there are plenty of, or lots of Democrats currently now running. There are, or has been, Democrats such as Andrew Yang, who spoke out against male genital mutilation. He also has a populist, more of a socialist view of things. A populist has talked about raising the minimum wage, helping the poor. You have people like Bernie Sanders, who was a socialist, who probably would be president if had Hillary not rigged the freaking primaries. You have, can never get his name right. But again, Mayor Pete, let's just call him that. The gay guy. You have him. He seems to be good. I think it would be good to have a gay president. He seems to have some good ideas. He wants to let a lot of prisoners out of prison. They said he wants to cut the military population in half, not military, but prison population in half. Let's see. I mean, you have a number of good people to choose from, is my point. So it's not simply Trump versus the absolute worst criminal in American history, except for maybe George Bush. And as far as crime goes, she may even be worse than him. So you no longer have that situation. You do have people on the left now to choose from. There are some good fucking people out there with some good ideals, some good politicians. But the point is, I do question Trump. I still question Trump. I question everything, and that is one of the things and one reason I left. I left the Democratic Party. Still would not consider myself a part of the Democratic Party any longer, and voted for Trump and did not support him. And that was because under Obama and or during Obama's reign, they did not want to question Obama. They weren't questioning anything he'd done. They stopped questioning the Iraq War. They didn't question the Afghanistan War. They weren't talking about or they had shut up about Guantanamo Bay. They weren't talking about what we were doing in Syria and how we were funding terrorists. They didn't question bad policies and criminal activity of the Obama administration and or what his Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was doing to the country. And they did all of this, while pretending to be liberal when they're not. Why? Because first of all, they had become morally and intellectually bankrupt, and they had sold out to support this corporate candidate who they had decided for whatever reason was much more likely to win over someone like a Jill Stein, who was a very good politician, someone I would vote for over on the Green Party. She's a female, by the way. I would vote for her. So Green Party members like Jill Stein and other people out there, they would rather support Obama because he was the more electable of the two. We get to vote for the person to elect, the lesser of two evils. And you've got one guy, McCain. I know he's dead now, but that's been a while. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. You've got McCain who's singing "Bomb Bomb Around," and he's teaming up with Sarah Palin, who at this point he was old, and if he had kicked the bucket at any point, she would be in there. And she thought she could see fucking Russia from her house, and she's goddamn. She couldn't even name a fucking magazine or book she had read in a month. And this fucking cunt could have been president, and you would have her damn finger on the goddamn war trigger, or the damn button, ready to blow up shit. Then he's running against Romney, who's not just a millionaire. I think it was can't think of his name. He was on RT. But anyways, he was a fucking kind of a liberal. He was over on RT. Oddly enough, he actually did do the Alex Jones show, though this has been a while ago. But the point is, not Thorne Hartman. It was another guy. This guy was more like into finance or financial shit. But the point is, he talked about, Mitt Romney isn't a millionaire. He's a fucking billionaire, and he's a neocon, total neocon, sort of con artist. So out of those two, saying Obama is the lesser of two evils, hey, that's not saying a lot. I mean, they were both pretty damn bad. But what really got me was where a lot of these people, especially the fucking females had been were rather supporting Hillary or Hillary Clinton, knowing what kind of person she was, after all the criminal shit she was involved in, all the crimes she committed, all the shit that we knew about her, all the WikiLeaks shit, knowing what she did as Secretary of State, they were still supporting her against Trump, who, at least in my opinion at that time, while I didn't like... A minute. While I didn't like all that she did or said, she seemed obvious to me to be a far more corrupt person than Trump was, and she was and is a far more corrupt people than almost anyone. And again, so you still have these people, especially these female or feminists, and their stupid pussy hats and all this other dumb shit, wanting to vote for her and bitching about Trump telling a pussy joke, 11 years prior to that or whatever it was. And meanwhile, you've got Hillary Clinton married to fucking Bill Clinton, who we know was taking trips to fucking Epstein Island, and he was fucking everything that moved in the White House. But that's okay. This is not Trump telling a joke. And she even, back when she was like a long time ago, back in the 70s, she supposedly helped get off someone that was a convicted, pretty much that she knew was a fucking rapist that had raped a 12-year-old girl with several men, because she took the case for a guy when she was some kind of attorney, whatever she was doing, whatever she was. She got him off, and she laughed and joked about how she knew he did it, and there's audio recording of that. But meanwhile, you're going to talk shit about Trump telling a joke? So, I mean, that was a problem to me. So, I mean, all of that goes back to the Democrats. Now, on the other hand, and I guess I kind of went into the Democrats too much, but I was going to save that for the end. But on the other hand, or whatever, The other end of that, you have the right wing, who again, as we're seeing now, their true colors. They're against immigration. They want to speed up. They want to interfere with the process of law, as Trump's doing in the immigration case. They don't want to give these people the proper trial and or whatever, and they want to speed up the deportation of illegal immigrants. And we're seeing now with the right wing, as much as they say, or they will say, make perhaps something to the effect of, and they more or less say this. Alex Jones will more or less say this, that that they're not really anti-LGBTQ people. They just don't want them to have crow on crow, like whatever, they don't want them to have special privileges. And or what fucking privileges? I can think of special privileges females have. You call me misogynist, or say that's misogyny or anything else you want, but I can't think of a single goddamn privilege a gay person or a bisexual person or a lesbian has as far as being gay goes, and or even a transgender person, especially a transgender person. I can't think of a single damn privilege they have, and at least in my eyes, they seem to be at a complete disadvantage in society. And I have seen, and there are a lack of interest in talking about not only male rights, but genital mutilation. Now, I've seen some right wingers and some people on the right wing talk more about male rights than others, and it seems to have been something that has been talked about. Where you'll see someone like Alex Jones try to play off to and pander to a female audience. I've seen them do this. At the same time, they're attacking them and trying to get rid of abortion rights, and that is an actual female right that they want to take from them. At least if it's done in the first trimester. Obviously, I think that it's gotten to a ridiculous proportion. It's gone to ridiculous proportions, and you saw that in New York, and they were trying to do that in Virginia. That one guy tried to do it, but it fucked up because of racism or whatever. But that is ridiculous. And but what really gets me is not only are they against male rights, they're against the rights of male children. They support male genital mutilation and or circumcision, and they use the issue of FGM or female genital mutilation as a way of bashing other cultures, and they pretty much use that as an excuse to attack, for example, Islam and or certain Middle Eastern and or Islamic cultures. But at the same time, while they do that, they don't care that that Islam does that to males, in part because many of them do that to males, and they probably did that to their own children because they're hypocritical cocksuckers, and they're ready and always really ready and able to conform at any point. But they claim not to be because they walk around with a "Make America Great" shirt on or hat on, and you're left wondering, when the hell was it ever great in the first place? The first few years after the Revolution, back when Thomas Jefferson was walking around, yeah, it was okay back then. That's been a long damn time ago. And even then, you had slavery. So, but back to the original point, and I forget everything I was going to say here, or what I kind of not really keeping track. But back to the original point. They say they're not against LGBTQ rights, but if you'll notice, any damn time the issue is brought up, and I pretty much said that sort of something similar to this about Alex Jones, they are constantly they will constantly attack gay people and transgender rights. You see this with the transgender bathroom issue. You see this with transgender people trying to play female sports. You have seen this with transgender people on a number of issues. They will pick and choose some ridiculous news story here and there where it seems like trans or gay people or some group are out of line or they're being corrupt, and even then they're misreporting it or they're just wrong anyways. And then you have situations like where they support, and I have to agree with them because this is kind of a private property issue, a private small company issue, whatever. But they will talk about, in the case of the not wanting to bake a gay cake, or pretty much just bake a cake for gay people, and discriminate against gay people. And I would say if it's a small company, whether you like it or not, you have to kind of allow that, because if not, then that interferes with other private property rights and rights to, pretty much choose who you associate with, freedom of association and so forth. Now, if it's a big company or a corporation, that totally changes things, because then you have a massive problem. And that is in the case of that one idiot, that one woman. Oh, God damn it. But rather in the case of that one woman, that one idiot that didn't want to give gay people their marriage license, and I guess it wasn't the case when she took the job, but you're there to give people marriage licenses or a marriage license. You don't make the damn rules for the job. You're just there to do your job. You're working for the state, the government. They say do something, then you do that. So how in the hell did anyone not defend her being fired? She was put in jail for a little while, but not long, and she should have been fired at least. And it's like you're saying that's okay, but it's not okay not to. But it is okay not to bake a gay cake. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that's my video on P666. Always crushing everything. P666.